In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. Through him all things were made. Without him nothing was made that has been made. In him was life, and that life was the light of all mankind. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. So begins the famous opening to John's Gospel, chapter 1, which is often read at Advent. Jesus has come as the light of the world, as Jesus himself says later in John chapters 8 and 9. Here in verse 4 of chapter 1, John stresses that Jesus is the light for all people. He has come for your friends and family, your work colleagues, and your neighbours. There are two ways we could translate verse 5. One is the way that I read it just now. The darkness has not overcome it. If you light a tiny candle in the darkest of rooms, the room is no longer completely dark. And Jesus is not just a faint light, like a torch whose battery is running out, but what John calls the true light in verse 9. That is the ultimate, original light, the real source of illumination that lies behind all other lights. But we could also translate verse 5, the darkness has not understood it. John might have actually intended a double meaning here. Some just don't get it, we might say. And yet, this revelation of God is available for all, since John also describes Jesus in verse 9 as the true light that gives light to everyone. Yet, as we are well aware, not all those we know and love have responded to this light. John shows throughout his gospel that the coming of the light exposes division in our world. As Jesus says in John chapter 3, verses 19 to 20, some people do not come to the light. They prefer to remain in darkness because they don't want their deeds to be exposed. The light brings into the open everything that's hidden in the shadows, evil, sin, impurity. But for us who believe, light brings clarity and drives out shame, guilt, and fear. We pray for our friends, family, neighbours, and work colleagues to encounter and turn to the light this Christmas. But we have a part to play. In John's Gospel, John the Baptist is simply referred to as John, a witness. John 1 verses 7 and 8 say of him, he came as a witness to testify concerning that light, so that through him all might believe. He himself was not the light. He came only as a witness to the light. In this respect, John is not unique. He was simply the first human witness to Jesus. And you and I can be a witness to the light today. Just as later in John 5 verse 35, John is described as a burning and shining lamp who contains the light of Jesus. We can share our testimony with those around us and those to whom God is calling us. We can tell them how we encountered Jesus, who he is for us, and how he has changed our lives. We can let our light shine before others, as it says in Matthew 5, so that through seeing our good deeds, people may glorify our Father in heaven. And Jesus gives this wonderful promise to those who come to believe in him in John 8 verse 12. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. So let's take comfort this Advent that Jesus, the light of the world, has brought to us the light of life. And that like John, we can be a witness, not to ourselves, but to point to Jesus, so that others may know the true light who came for all people.